All right. Welcome to another episode of Tech Talk, where we show you how to embrace technology in order to move your business forward. I'm Remya Warrior, the chair of Tech Talk. And today, our guest is the esteemed Adam Japko, the CEO and founder of Esteem Media. Esteem Media was established on the premise that commerce can be maximized in the luxury business, in the luxury business by creating and sharing content that adds value to the online and offline business network. Esteem Media is home to leading national and local media brands in the luxury home design, fine wine, and content marketing education, focused on connecting professionals and consumers around their passions and businesses. Its businesses include Atlanta Home and Lifestyle, Design Bloggers Conference, Garden Bloggers Conference, Home Design Digital Marketing Summit, WineZag, New England Home, Wine and Design, Italy, and the Multifamily Social Media Marketing Summit Leverage events, digital marketing, print media, social media, blogs, and luxury travel experiences. Whew, Adam, I'm tired reading it.
You're right. I need to stop doing some of that. Thank you for that nice intro.
Oh, no. Oh, you're welcome. So now I guess all of you can see how excited I was with this webinar and why it is so. Right. So, Adam, would you like all of us to hold our questions till the end?
Whatever's convenient for you. You tell me.
All right. So we're going to be taking notes, and we want to make sure that the presentation can be done, and then we'll ask you questions at the end.
Okay. Sounds and when should we aim to make sure that the presentation is done?
Around 45 minutes from now.
45 minutes. You got it.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Take it away.
Okay. So I'm going to share my screen if that's okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. Let's see if I can do that. Okay. Can everybody see it?
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. I am just going to get rid of this. Okay, so first of all, good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining. And I will do my best to make your 45-minute investment a worthwhile endeavor for you. What we're going to talk about this morning is what has happened with the luxury design web from the perspective of what I feel are three important silos for a designer to understand. And I've broken them down into three different areas. One is Google, the other is content marketing in general, and the third one is the visual web. All of these are tailored, from my perspective, always for the design professional. Since it's all of these are efforts that are designed to build your personal brands, or to convert leads, or to generate awareness around product lines and so forth. So everything we'll be talking about today will be focused around that. And again, you know, where I met Remya was at the Design Bloggers Conference. And what I'm going to share with you here are things that we have occasionally covered through the Design Bloggers Conference, but we can't really do it justice in 45 minutes. So just so you know, there's lots more behind this. And if it's of ever interest, you can ask Remya, or you can ask me. I'll give you my email at the end, and we can get you out to the Design Bloggers Conference. So let's start. Okay, as you can see, I'm not a great artist. This is my best shot at drawing the World Wide Web. That cloud is the World Wide Web. And what I'm trying to do here is to demonstrate two ways that consumers actually can find you or discover you on the web. They're two very different strategies that work together, but they're distinct. The first one on the left is involving you building your own audience. And the one on the right is about you getting discovered by working through and developing a presence on one of the large home design sites, whether it be a traditional home type site or whether it be a house or any of the marketplaces that exist. And so I think it's important to understand this before we get into any other part of the discussion, which is number one is if that's your business, and generally when we think about your business on the web, it's your website. Your website is your home base. It's where you want to bring people to, whether you're active in social media or blogging or whatever. Transactional type activity happens at your business level, and transactions could be anything from I'm looking at your portfolio down to I'm asking you for to come and quote my project. So the way consumers find you directly is generally through what we think of as long tail search and social media discovery. And I'll get into long tail search in a bit, but this is where you're creating lots of content either on a blog that's connected to your website or on your website, and a consumer is raising their hand through their search engine and saying, I'm looking for information on something very specific like pink polka dot textiles for teens' rooms. And had you created a blog post that had a bunch of those keywords, it's a quick discovery directly to your business. The other way to participate is something where you are paying for a presence on one of the larger sites, or you're getting involved organically, like with House or something like that, and where a consumer will end up at that site either through a Google search or through an app or through their, just knowing a direct hit, knowing the site, and you're featured prominently there, and there's a link to your business. It's an indirect way. You don't own the audience, but this audience aggregates in a very different way than this audience. These people are generally in a much more general search, or they've used general search terms because it's those sites like the big, the Shelter Media and the Houses of the world and the First Dibs of the world and the Viettes of the world and so forth that end up coming up very high in popular search. So again, just two ways. One is you're creating content, and one is you're working with somebody else. I'd like to take you to a first strategy that is rather new and developing, and I think it's worth talking about for that reason, and that is native advertising. And native advertising is something that really developed on the large social platforms, but what happened then was, some of the more traditional publishers started to find their own paths to native advertising on their sites, like the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, etc. Well, let's just talk about what native advertising is, right? Now, normally, if you want to advertise with a brand, you create some advertising or banner ads or whatever, and you pay them and you get a space on their site or in their physical publication. Native advertising is a form of paid media, right, where the experience that you're creating with the content that they are hosting for you follows the actual form and function of what the user normally experiences on that site, meaning what they're coming there for, not advertising, but it looks like and feels like content that venerable site is normally serving up for their visitors. So form, we mean the ads have to match the visual design of the experience that they're in, and they have to look and feel like natural content, not like advertising. Function means that when you're on that ad that you may have placed on that medium, that the experience must be the same, meaning if they have video on all of their natural content on that site, like traditional home might, that your content is being featured with the exact same functionality, so that there's a very blurry line now between editorial content created by the site or publication and the advertising that people are creating. This thing is growing so fast that in 2018 it's going to be over $20 billion in the United States. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of examples of it on some large platforms like the New York Times, and show you how there's actually a native advertising bureau now that are setting up rules because, as you can imagine, this would be challenging for some editors and publishers to agree on. So the first thing is the URL actually shows that it's a paid post. And then that there's another piece here that Dell created this. And then you see here it says paid for and posted by Dell, and that it's actually written by somebody at Dell. Now, you know, it's very hard to mistake it, but it's in the New York Times, and the content is not, hey, this is why Dell computers are the best laptops to buy, right? It's basically a piece about will millennials ever completely shun the office? And it was a great piece, and it caught my eye, and that's how I found it. Now, why is this interesting to us as design in the design field? Is that every one of the design media, the national magazine publishers have created native advertising opportunities for brands, designers, and so forth. And you don't hear lots and lots about it because editors tend not to be totally comfortable with it because of the encroachment that it has and them not being able to control the what looks like, you know, real content. But the fact is that all the editors participate in this, and they have staff that edit the content and work with the advertisers to make sure the content does comply. So Condé Nast has jumped on. You see here in Adweek, Hearst was the latest publisher to jump on the native ad trend. Hearst launched 5 unique native advertising products. And I'm going to give you a really cool example here of one that I thought was a great example of native advertising. This was in the New York Times, but you can see it's a Netflix sponsored thing. But, you know, I started reading it because I was just interested in the topic, you know, why the male model doesn't work for women in prisons. And the fact is, as I read through it, it was a really, really solid article. But when I got to the bottom, I realized that it was an ad for Orange and Black, right? And now, and just think about this in terms of design and all of the expertise that you have developed around color and architecture and, just go down the list, antiques, whatever it is, whatever your expertise is, you have something to share, and you can create blog posts on your blog and create things on your social media platform. But this is a way to get back to that first crazy slide that I drew of the web, of how can you participate in a really organic way, but ensure that it is seen by thousands and thousands of consumers. And native advertising is just one of the areas that this is a new opportunity for you guys. So I just wanted to mention that and then move off of that and now start to move into the areas of things that we can control in creating our own content around our own brands. And to do that, I'm sure many of you are familiar with what the long tail is, but grasping it is very important because it will give you a significant amount of encouragement and a better understanding of your traffic and why people are coming to you. So 75% of all the searches every day on the web are really specific searches, 2 words, 3 words, 4 words, very, very specific searches like the pink polka dot, teen, bedroom, textile, right? The popular searches like interior designer, right? Those are searched much more frequently, but they make up a smaller segment of the total searches every day on Google. The other thing about popular searches is they're very what we call low conversion traffic incidents. Meaning, if I search interior designer New England and I live in Wellesley, Massachusetts, and I start to see, hundreds of interior designers around New England, the odds are I'm going to try and work with somebody more local to me, or I'm looking for a designer that specializes in, architectural preservation or whatever, and I don't really know what kind of searches I'm going to get. But when I do really, really specific searches, if you're creating the content right on the web, you start to attract very high conversion traffic of great interest for what you have, because you're building the traffic around the content that you're creating. And this is kind of just an example of what I mean by that. So interior design might be the very popular search, and as you go further down the tail, it becomes interior design ideas, ideas bedrooms, all the way down to interior design ideas, teenage girls' bedrooms, right? And so that's a very, very specific search. And if you ever created a blog post that either had lead sentences or the URL had design, teenage girls' bedrooms in it, that's where you start to really get excellent long tail search discovery that has the opportunity to convert at a very high rate. And the concept behind this is basically the overlap between what the prospect's intent is and what the purpose of the web page that's being served up is. So for example, we once wrote a blog post called The 3 Greatest Survey Questions Ever. And then we looked in our Google Analytics to see what the search terms were that people were using. And all of these search terms are very, very neatly aligned with what this particular post is about. And in those days, that was one of the services that we were providing at our company. And so it gave us very, very great traffic that was very easy for us to convert. Conversely, I have a wine blog, and I once wrote a post back in 2009, I think, and it was called 90 Points of Costco Wine. And it was a story about, Costco wine buyers were not going to buy any wine that wasn't rated 90 points or more. And what happened is that when anybody ever searched 90-point wines at Costco, because you might think that I want to go to Costco, I want to see what they have, they would end up, hold on a sec. They would end up finding my blog. And it was really not what that post was about. And those people would bounce off, and it was really bad traffic. And so, getting your audience aligned around the purpose of the post that you create or your website is really, really important. And for that reason, blogs are really, in my estimation, not optional in web marketing anymore. The reason is, number one is the way blog templates work is they neatly organize the content for search engine. There's a title, there's the permalink, there's a lead sentence, there are hyperlinks, there are tags, there's categorization, and all of this makes it very easy for search engines to understand the intent of that web page and the value of the web page. And the search engines like blogs for that reason, because again, the search engine is trying to deliver the content that's most aligned with the searcher, otherwise they'll go to another search engine, right? So this is very true to the search engines. 2 is, it's very easy to update. So it allows for fresh content creation, and search engines favor fresh content. So for example, if you were to Google home run derby, I don't know if any of you watched the home run derby with the All-Star game recently, but if you Google home run derby right now, you'll get all the results from the recent home run derby. But there's been 40 different home run derbies. So, but why don't you see that served up? Because they're always looking for, the search engine is trying to find the freshest content, assuming that the searcher is not looking for historical content, but is looking for up-to-date content. And again, because the content is very specific and generates long-tail search, right? So here's an example of that. If I was to search, sorry about that. If I was to search, I just want to see if I can move this. Okay. If I was to search, sorry guys.
That's okay.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Hold
on.
Oh. Something happened. That's right. Let me just go back to this. If I was to search, why is that not working? Oh, there we go. Perfect, perfect. If I was to search top pots and planters, right? Very interestingly, above Amazon comes Amber Interior Design top 10 pots and planters. Now, let's take a look where that takes us. That takes us to a post that she has called top 10 pots and planters. And Amber was one of the speakers at our Design Bloggers Conference this past March. And what's the wonderful aspect of being discovered ahead of Amazon when you're searching for pots and planters is that if you have a shop on your blog, right, the odds are that you don't have enough content in your shop to make your shop a destination that Google is going to say, well, somebody's looking for top pots and planters. Who's got the most general content on pots and planters? It will not be here. It will be at Amazon. It will be at some of the big sites, right? So this is amazing long tail traffic, top pots and planters that end up here and then can go to the shop and shop for pots and planters. And so this is the way blogs today are working for a lot of designers. And essentially what a blog is, it's kind of the centerpiece of a content marketing program. And for those who are familiar with content marketing, you know what I'm talking about. But essentially, a content marketing initiative is basically a term that involves you creating and sharing content in order to, get new or keep customers that will create profitable customer action. So the content is designed to create a profitable customer action. And that is a really key point of why people have moved so much of their focus to content marketing, because you can control it yourself and you can devise it around your money buckets. Now, this may seem strange to you, but I don't know if any of you recognize this, but this is an old Grateful Dead bus, right? And why am I sharing this with you? Because the Grateful Dead is the top touring band in the history of the United States. And they're still touring 50 years later in various forums. And they've never really produced records. And in the early days, they disrupted the model in the recording industry and said, we're not going to make our money through selling records, and we're not going to keep pushing that through the radio stations and so forth. We're going to tour, and we like touring. So what they realized was, let's go right up against the recording industry, ethical path, and let's just make all our music free. In other words, we'll have recording sections in our concert halls, and we'll let our audience keep our music and record it and trade it and give it away to people. So instead of protecting their content, which a lot of people have a problem with in content marketing, where it's like, well, should I really give away my design secrets in a blog post, or should I really do all this stuff? What the Grateful Dead was really almost as the fathers of content marketing said, we're going to give it all away, because our economic engine is the concert, just like your economic engine is the project. And so what can you give away all along the way that is what your audience wants, displays your expertise and how good you are, gets them hooked on you, and then you make your money through the event activities that generate your money, right? So let's go back to small businesses and away from rock and roll bands. And, essentially, the head pin in web marketing is getting discovered on the web. Once people are identified as prospects, right, and they're in your kind of lead management funnel, they're getting your newsletter, or they're coming to events you have, or whatever it may be, before they drop out as customers, there's still lots and lots of content that are going on. But never forget that the head pin of web marketing is finding new clients and new customers, either through online referrals or through the content that you're creating. And there's a lot of ways to drive traffic to your site, and it can drive you crazy. But the thing to remember is that content always is at the center of your traffic and the conversion of that traffic. Creating the right content will create the right traffic, who will have a high conversion rate for you. So let's talk just quickly about business blogging. And I'm sorry I'm moving through this quickly, but I'm trying to cover a bunch of stuff, and then we can ask some questions later. What really is business blogging? When I think about business blogging, when I was a wine blogger, I wasn't selling wine. And I was just really passionate about wine and talking about it and really enjoying the engagement. But if I'm trying to sell something, content here generally answers the kinds of questions your typical prospects ask, either in the first meeting or along through the project. And you know what they all are, because they're constantly being asked. And creating content that answers those questions, again, may feel like, wow, I'm giving this away without even meeting the person, but that's what people are looking for. And in this world where you have the educated consumer, it doesn't prevent them from doing business with you. And what is a blog? Blog is basically a website where it's easy to, create new content on a regular basis and to organize it. So let's talk about some really good examples of answering questions and example posts that have worked for various folks in the design industry. This particular post by a furniture builder, a master furniture builder, is quality renewed, a furniture master with experience in restoration. But you can see down below under every one of this blog's every tag, they repeat master woodworkers in Boston, Massachusetts. That's one of the tags, right? And they have other tags too, but they tag every post with that. When you Google master woodworkers in Boston, the first return, right, is this particular woodworker, and they're not even in Boston; they're in New Hampshire. But it's an amazing tool to create regular content and use the tagging tools to really be effective with it. Here's another really good one. This is a teen, or they call them tweens, a term I had never heard before, but a tween, right? I guess in between teen and child, whatever. And they sell sunglasses, and they have a great technology and so forth like that. But you can see they also tag everything. It's all great content. The tags align with the content, but sunglasses for tweens. And when you Google sunglasses for tweens, which is a very long tail search, there aren't a lot of people Googling sunglasses for tweens. Right after Amazon is this small company, and it's called Real Kid Shades. And this company would never have the chance to be discovered on page one, where the inventory is getting tighter and tighter and tighter. There's maybe 4 organic returns. Amazon's one of them. You're one of them. And the rest is basically paid, right? Here's another interesting example post. 5 ways to introduce your walls. This was for I never know how to pronounce it, wainscoter or wainscoter? Wainscoting, a wainscoter. And he's in Connecticut, and it was 5 ways to add interest to your walls, the post. And when you Google this term, you'll see that this particular company has come up 3 times. And one of the interesting techniques that they did was they created 2 different posts. One was 5 ways to add interest to your walls, and then ways to add interest to your walls. And that may seem like redundant and weird and stuff like that, but if you do these posts 3 months apart, it's not a big deal. If you got a lot to say about it, and the URL, right, the permalink that's created from your headline for the post is what is highly weighted by the search engines. They try and understand what that particular post is about. So this guy gets discovered when people are looking to figure out what to do with their walls, and he's got an answer for them in Connecticut. This was an interesting one where this particular architect in New England, and I live in New England, so I just was Googling around New England, but created a post of the 2011 Building New Hampshire Award winners. And they named all of the winners, not just them. They were up for TMS was up for an award and so forth. They named all the winners, right? Now, when you Google, top award-winning architects in New Hampshire, you'll see TMS Architect gets their sites get served up, right? And it was from this particular post. And so writing about your competitors or being, inclusive of your community and providing links and getting linked back is a really effective way to deal with this. So I want to now take you outside of this and take you into a speaker that I brought into the Design Bloggers Conference a while ago. And he was basically a pool guy. He was in Virginia, and he installed pools. And he now like Gary Vaynerchuk with wine, was a wine seller in New Jersey, and now, is one of the highest paid consultants in internet marketing. The same thing with Marcus Sheridan. And Marcus shared a couple of interesting things, which was, if I'm going to create content, I'm going to do it about the big 5. I'm going to answer the questions that customers have, because that's what people do when they go on Google. So my posts are always about what things cost, what are the problems with the things I sell, what are the products that somebody would compare to mine or buy versus mine. I'm going to talk about reviews and awards, just like I did, like I just showed you with TMS. And I'm going to link to my competitors, because then they'll link back to me, because they want to be able to share the fact that I'm writing about them winning an award, and any best of kind of stuff. So let's see what he's talking about, and embracing the dollar question. Here was a post that he did a while ago, and the post was, how much does a fiberglass pool cost, right? Think about it. Somebody's thinking about buying a pool. That's the first thing they're going to want to know, like, what does one of these things cost? This particular, this is his own data in HubSpot, but this particular search over 3 years generated hundreds of leads, really hundreds of leads. And you can see that these were what people were Googling, right? River pools and spas, cost of fiberglass pools, fiberglass. Lots and lots of people are Googling that. They come to the post, and then in terms of converting to lead, they have to do something. They have to fill out a form or whatever. And now you have their name, and now you can follow up with them. This particular post, because follow through, generated $2 million pool sales for him, just because people are out there searching. And if you think about the analog for design, it's exactly there. Let's talk about the problem with problems, right? A lot of people don't want to talk about the problems of their product. But this guy wrote a post about the problems with fiberglass pools, and you can see lots of people are searching fiberglass pool problems, right? And he's converting a significant amount of leads around content, and people are buying from him because he's upfront with the problems that fiberglass pools have. He provides solutions to it also, but he's very honest about it and comes across very authentic. Now let's look at the versus question, right? When you think about granite versus, right, when you're doing countertops, and this is what, you know, your customers and clients are probably thinking about all the time, and they're Googling it, both in image search and both in all search. And you can see I just put in the word granite versus, and so you can see the most popular searches. People are searching this all the time. So if you were specializing in kitchens, or you do really, really fine kitchens, creating this kind of content is really awesome for you. And it's not like you're going to solve somebody's question who would have done business with you, and now they're not going to do business with you because all they really wanted from you was, should I have a granite or a quartz countertop? So, you know, and because he creates this content, he ranks #1 on Google search in every one of these searches, which is constantly feeding his pool business. His pool business went through the roof to the point where he left it and hired people to manage it, and he just does 100% content marketing consulting now. And it's a no-brainer to think about the questions that your customers are asking. And why is creating content on a blog so important? This was something I shared at the Design Bloggers Conference this year, which is, if you take the monthly rate base of every one of the national traditional design media, and you add that up, it does not equal the reach of just the design bloggers that were in the room at the Design Bloggers Conference, which was, you know, a maximum 350, because 100 people that are there don't even blog. They're brands, and they're not blogging. But the power of reaching, because of long tail content and creating so much content and getting a few visits every day off a few pieces of content because of long tail search, is more powerful than House Beautiful's content of, you know, of their website per se, not their content, their website, let's say, where people are creating very general searches and showing up there, and for very low conversion activity. So the power of blogging really, really is there. I just want to check the time. I think we're still good, right?
Yes.
So I wanted to finish. That's kind of where I'm going to leave the discussion on blogging. And at the end, I'm going to give you my email and some other information. I'm happy to follow up with anybody one-on-one. If you have any specific questions, we'll take some questions. But I can't finish a talk in design and design digital marketing without talking about visual marketing. And it's very interesting, we think about Instagram and Facebook and sharing photos with captions for context. But remember Susan Sontag back in the 1960s, she wrote this essay on camp, right? But there were two quotes in there that I found mind-blowing. One was that she said in the 60s that objects are not interesting in themselves, but rather the way they're represented and their manifestation and the realization in the eyes of the beholder. And then she goes on to say, whatever excess of understanding is suggested by an image, a caption will eventually be needed to help read the image. And this is the power, of visual marketing in a sense where, 50 people can share the same image, but the context that you present it in, both in composition and in a caption, is really what makes the difference. And let me give you an example of that. Here's a guy laying down, right? It's very hard to know what this picture is about. It's the centerpiece of the photo, of the message. But if I click further and show you the photo, you all remember this photo, right? And it's because of the context. This was during the Kent State shootings. And if you think about the power of image marketing, that you probably, if you're my age, remember this photo. Do you remember any of the articles you read about Kent State and the shootings there? Probably not. And again, that this image alone does not do it for you, but it's the context of everything around it and the composition, right? So let me give you another one. Here's some crazy looking guy with a baby, right? And, when I saw this image, which I actually took, to be very honest, I knew what it was. I was going, wow, this guy looks like Charles Manson. This baby can be in trouble if I just saw this image. But if I add some context to it, that this was at a Grateful Dead concert, and there's just some hippie who had a baby out of wedlock probably, and he's just wandering around, spaced out of his mind, it gives you context. So again, it's, just putting up an image of a thing, is never enough, and it is about context. And that's what turns, social media marketing powerful. And so when you think about your visual marketing campaign, whether it be on Instagram or Pinterest, or whether it be in-house or wherever it is, what makes it powerful for you is the filters you predetermine apply to all of your content curation and your content sharing. Like, what do I want to be known for when I share an image? Do I want it to be amusing? Do I want it to be dramatic? Do I want it to be awesome photography? Do I want it to be a style? Do I want it to be about trim? Whatever it is, right? Here's one of the speakers from this year's, give you an example of that, from this year's Design Bloggers Conference. He's just a photographer, and he, like all of us, takes selfies. But he believes in creating content that is really interesting and whimsical. And that's how he's known. He's a recommended user on Instagram, a recommended site. And so when he takes a selfie, they look like this, or they might look like that. How many of us have taken selfies in a mirror, right? But this is his signature content, and he consistently presents it that way. And the deal with why visual marketing is so important, and the beauty is why it lends itself so wonderfully to our industry. When you're looking at something, like almost all your brain is basically processing what you're seeing, visual images. Forget about everything else, right? Your brain's firing like 2 billion times per second to just compute what your eyes are taking in. And if you hear a piece of information, you might have a 10% chance of remembering it, a few days later. But if you get a picture with that information, just like that Kent State picture, right, recall goes up 65%. And your brain can process images 60,000 times faster than words. So in this era of overconsumption and of content gone out of control, image marketing is really, really important. And Instagram is actually easier and more engaging than blogging. And it serves a different purpose. They're not exclusive of each other, but they're really powerful. So like, I took this one, I don't know if you guys know this particular blog, Quintessence, Stacy Bucas, she does a really good job. This is one of her blog posts. There's one of her Instagram posts, right? And what's beautiful about it is that when I get to her page, there's a palette, and that palette in Instagram will brand her very quickly. And there are links, obviously, in Instagram back to the blog. It's not a great link place, but one of the interesting things is, and we just achieved this with Atlanta Homes, if you get traction on Instagram, which we did with Atlanta Homes, a number of followers and an engagement level, you can start sharing links in each one of your posts. So there is something to aspire to in terms of driving traffic back to your website, is that there is a linking future on Instagram. And just to talk about Instagram, L2, which is the largest research company in digital marketing, it's kind of the consulting company in Silicon Valley that everybody turns to. They did a bunch of research on Instagram. And the first thing that they realized was, through the research, is that authentic and believable imagery from daily life trumps staged and perfect imagery for engagement. That's number one. So it doesn't have to be the picture that's shot for traditional home or for el decor. It can be you working on a project, right? But the other thing is the resonance of visual marketing on Instagram is amazing, right? There's 600 million active users now. There's an engagement rate of 1.5%. And that's 15 times greater than Facebook's engagement rate, which means that if you just do an algorithm and you take Facebook's audience and Instagram's audience, and then you apply the engagement rate, that Instagram is the most engaging and highest engagement rate social platform on the web now. And you have such a great opportunity to deal with this, because the whole process of what you do offers a plethora of opportunity for creating highly engaging content. And I can't tell you how many people get up on the stage at the Design Bloggers Conference and start out with, if it were not for Instagram, I would not be on this stage today, nor would I have my shop, nor will I have my design business, nor would I have my notoriety on the national stage. And so Instagram and visual marketing is the thing that changed the world 2 or 3 years ago on the web, and it applies in a really powerful way for design marketing. So with that, I'll close. And I know we covered a lot of ground. Again, we covered everything from native advertising to search strategies from long tail to short tail. And then we got into blogging and visual marketing. So it was a big number in a very short amount of time, and I would not be surprised if I confused some folks, but I hope that you found something of use that you can put to work and give you the enthusiasm to go at this.
Oh, absolutely. I think this was action-packed webinar, Adam.
It was.
Yeah.
Shall I stop sharing my screen?
Yes, please.
Okay, let me see if I can do that. Figure out where this is here. Hold on a second.
I think it's on top. Oh, probably on top or at the bottom.
Oh, yeah, I'll find it somewhere. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Here. Okay, start. Here we go.
Oh, okay. Awesome. All right, so we already have our first question by Tracy Stephens. She asked, how often do you recommend updating a website?
Well, as frequently as possible. It will be the general answer. I've always said that if your website if you went to a party in Upper Saddle River every Saturday night for 3 months, and every Saturday night you wore the same dress, people would look at you and they would say, something's wrong here, right? Mm-hmm. Now, it's the same thing the way the search engines look at websites. If it's not updated, if there's nothing fresh there, it kind of shies away from you. So the way I would update website is through a blog, because it's easy, and your blog should be integrated in the website. And because every time you create a blog post, you create a new web page. And when you create a new URL and a new web page, it gives the search engines confidence that they should be coming back to your site frequently and searching it and indexing it.
Cool. So she's asking, I post one project every month. Is that good enough?
It's good enough, but it's not good enough. No, to be very honest, it's better than not updating it once a month. And I wouldn't feel badly about it. And if that's all you can do, that's what you should do, because it's better than what 90% of the people are doing. But if you want to play ball, you should be creating blog posts a couple times a week, at minimum.
Okay. Okay, so Kathleen Ward just posted. That was a lot of information.
Sorry.
No, that's great. Why are you saying sorry for that? That's great. And she says, but all of it was fabulous and incredibly helpful. Thank you, Adam. And as always, Remya, I'm a fan. Oh, thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you.
Okay. And Tracy says, yikes. Okay. Well, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to type it in. And do that if you can in the chat section instead of the question and answer section.
Yeah, and also I'm just going to share my screen one more time. Let me just see if I can. Yeah, just so that you can get my email address.
Okay.
So ajapko@esteemmedia.com. If you have any questions, there are things I can send you, or I'd be happy to answer specific question. This is what I really enjoy doing, is helping people figure this out. So it'd be my pleasure. There's nothing I enjoy more. And then also, I love when you come to the Design Bloggers Conference. And it's really cheap. I think it's like, I don't know, what is it, $395 or something like that. It's 3 days of content. We try and keep the price really, really cheap so that people can come and bloggers can be there, whatever. So love for you to come. Just go to that website, Design Bloggers Conference, or just Google Design Bloggers Conference. So again, ajapko@Esteem Media. Any more questions?
Okay, so I have one from Bruce Heyman. No, sorry, Holly George first. How much should I expect to spend as a one-person company to create a website with a blog and possibly a shop?
Honestly, if you have any inside help, right, who has any inclination, you can do it all yourself, but it can be a little bit scary. What I would do is, if you have any college-age kids and whatever, these are really simple things. I mean, I've learned how to do it, and if I can do it, I'm telling you, anybody can do it. But if you're going to go out and you're going to say, hey, I want a website with a blog integrated, and if you use an I would recommend doing it in WordPress. You can do an off-the-shelf theme that are quite inexpensive, and I know people who would do that for between $5,000 and $8,000. Create the shop, the website, and the blog post, and the blog.
Right. And I just wanted to also mention, last time we actually had Mydoma Studios, and with them, we can actually create our own shop and add that to our website.
Yes.
So guys, if you did not see the last Tech Talk, please go and look at that one. Okay, so we have a question. How many words should a blog be?
It should be, honestly, a minimum. See, this is the interesting piece, because design blogs are have been different than most blogs, where a design blog is image, text, image, text, image, text, image, text. And so a lot of it is very visual. And we used blogs before Instagram was around so that we can share images freely, right? A lot of other blog categories were not like that. So what I would think is, normally it's 500 words is what we recommend as, perfect blog post. But with all the imagery that you're creating, as long as you are tagging the images, and I don't want to get too nutty, but for those who do this or are blogging, you'll notice whenever you upload an image, there's an opportunity to create an alt tag under when you say what's the name of the image, the title, it's called an alt tag. And that's where you should describe what the image is, because the search engines cannot know what the image is, and they cannot index it in Google image search if they don't know what it is. So you have to create an alt tag. By doing that, you can reduce the number of words that you have because they're indexing the images, and you can get away with 350 words or so.
Cool. All right. Terry asks, does the content that we add to the blog posts several times a week have to be written by us, or is it okay to outsource it to an outside company?
It's okay to outsource it. There are honestly two challenges you have to overcome with outsourcing. Number one is they're not going to get it right, so you really have to be in the game with them, and you have to approve the content plan. You have to, every month there should be a content calendar of what kind of blog posts they're going to create. You should review them before they're published, and you should be able to provide feedback. Number two is when you're not blogging and creating it, you don't get the visceral feel of what the results are, because you kind of are checking a box and outsourcing it. And to really make this work and to share things in the social world, you really need to be in the game. So you would need to be very disciplined that you're sharing those posts on your social platforms, that you're out commenting on other blogs, that you're linking to other bloggers, that you're doing all of the community things that are important that will help you understand viscerally the power of this opportunity.
Right. And there is something which is very related to that, which is does the blog content need to be original, or can we repost other articles from print media?
No, you can excerpt, this whole idea of content curation, where you read something and you want to, and you found a paragraph in traditional home and an image to be very interesting. It's okay to put that in quotes and then create lots of other, your perspective around that. And that's kind of called content curation, but there's a real danger in doing this, not what I just described, but by just reposting already created content. It's really a bad idea, because the search engines ding you for duplicate content, because the search engines always want to be able to take people to the originator of the content, not because a lot of people create, spammy type, sites where they spread a lot of content and they duplicate it. And it's not a good idea to do that. But always to quote, a paragraph and then build a 200-300 word blog post around it, that's fine.
Now, what about, isn't it good to actually share on social media and give them credit so that they would probably share your blog post or something like that instead?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you got to give the love in the blog.
Right.
You got to give love, and you get love back when you give love. And it's like anything else. If I refer a client to you, the next time you're going to refer a client to me. And also, people love when people like what content they create. I think that all of you bloggers and social media people, you love when people find what you're saying is meaningful to them, and and so if you do that to other people, they're more inclined to do that for you. Right.
Dawn says, thanks, Adam. You are awesome as always. I agree.
Gosh.
So Val is asking, are you a fan of the free blog or web platforms?
Yeah, well, free blog meaning what? Can you expand on that?
Well, can you explain that? I didn't really.
Well, yeah, I'll talk a little bit until maybe there is a clarification. But to go to WordPress, you can get a free WordPress hosted by, and then your blog would be named www.adamjapkosblog.wordpress.com. Don't do that. Basically, you're setting up what's called a subdomain of WordPress, and all of your content is giving authority to the WordPress domain, not yours. So what you have to do is you have to go out and host. There's amazing host for WordPress is called WP Engine, and you can go to WPEngine.com. And that they are 100% the leaders in optimized hosting for WordPress, for speed, for security, update, all that. So I would host there, but I would go get you can get a free theme, that's fine, but you need to host it at an independent host and not make it a WordPress.com post. You want it to be AdamJapko'sblog.com.
Cool. All right. She says thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
Okay. And Don wants to know, can you give an example of an alt tag for images?
Yes. So let's say you have let's just go back to a pink polka dot planter, and you're featuring that, right? And it's an antique pink polka dot planter. What you do under where it says alt tag, if you can all see in your thing, let's just say alt tag, or something says alternative tag. Just type in pink polka dot antique planter, so that it's very succinct and it tells exactly what that image is. And therefore, it's easy for Google to give weight to that image as to knowing what the web page is about, but also to index it for the Google image search, and which also drives lots of good traffic.
Okay. Now, would you use a comma in between, or just as one word?
No, you don't. It's not like that. It's not like you're establishing lots of keywords. You're actually saying what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let me see if I am missing any so far. All right. Now, if you don't have any more questions, or if you have questions, keep them coming. And secondly, if you have any big takeaways, I would love to hear that. And I think Adam would love to hear that too, right?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So one of my biggest takeaway was about having a shop on your blog. The example that you showed us with Amber's blog.
Yeah.
That was a big aha moment for me.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
No, absolutely.
And also I loved about the attracting the right people with content, and you showed us a couple of different things where you don't want the wrong people to get attracted to you. So that was really great.
Right.
So I love that. And I would love to hear more aha moments for you guys. So if you can actually type that in the chat section, that would be awesome. Holly George, thank you, Remya, for another great tech talk, and thank you, Adam.
Pleasure.
You're welcome, Holly. All right, so let's see if we are going to be getting more. Thanks for, Tracy says, thanks for reinforcing the importance of captions in Instagram. I've been lazy about that.
Yeah. It's just not worth, just post. I mean, take your photos, sit back, bring them home. Nobody knows that it happened 7 hours ago, and think about what you want that to say about you.
Oh, and I have to say, I was not on Instagram at all. So attending the Design Bloggers Conference, I'm like, oh my God, I have to be on this. So that was one of my big takeaways from Design Bloggers Conference. Okay, so we have more. Terry Fiore says native ads. I had never heard of them. Aha. And then we have Kathleen Ward said, the biggest takeaway was the importance of Instagram. I tend to think that as something, for a much younger generation than mine, and certainly not for business. We will look to use this for our company going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want Instagram to take hold because my whole mindset was always built around web marketing, and links and getting people to your website. Instagram does not help get people to your website because your posts, you don't have links to your website. And that just never really worked. But what I see going on, there's just a comfort level in the community and the universe right now with image sharing and image marketing that is, you can't hold it off anymore, and you have to participate in it, to be very honest, and you have to have a purposeful way at it. So I would find some people who you think are really, really good and just watch what they're doing.
Right. So have you also seen that Instagram, I mean, you find more of the younger generation, or are you also finding like everybody on Instagram nowadays?
Everybody.
Wow.
Everybody.
Cool.
Everybody.
Nice.
The younger generation on Snapchat.
Oh, I thought that was going away.
Well, I don't know. If you have teenagers or kids in their 20s, you probably realize it's not going away very fast. They're very big in one-to-one communication, or one to a few, but they're not broadcasters. And Snapchat allows for people who don't want to broadcast.
Yeah. Okay, so we have Rennie who says, thanks for the Instagram tips. It's an area we've been lacking in, and now I know I need to step that up.
Thank you, Renee.
Renee. Sorry, I pronounced it wrong.
That's okay.
All right, so since we are at the top of the hour, I think we have to sort of like wind down. All right, so I did meet Adam, as we had mentioned, at the Design Bloggers Conference last year, and I have to tell you, it was one of the best conferences I've attended.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have attended many of them. So, and you have seen firsthand how much information Adam just shared with us in the 45 minutes. So imagine how much more you're going to get at the Design Bloggers Conference. It would be like literally learning on steroids when you're there. So, but I mean, and as always, whatever you're whatever you're learning, it's not going to work unless you actually take action, right? So we have covered a lot of topics so far, and I would love to hear how Tech Talk has improved your business and how it has helped you. So please give Adam a shout out on social media for taking the time from his busy schedule for us. And please use hashtags Tech Talk, ASIDNJ, and dbcla. Adam, I so appreciate you taking the time.
This was fun. It was my pleasure.
Oh, you're so sweet. You are so sweet.
No. Pleasure, really.
Okay. I never take anybody's time for granted. So as always, thank you guys so much for joining me. And Adam, I will basically put the link in the YouTube video, and I'll be sending that to you. And
Fantastic.
Any other information, if you wanted to share, please let me know. And I'm happy to share all the people who have registered for the webinar.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I look forward to seeing you guys sometime.
Yeah, I'll be there at the next Design Bloggers Conference for sure.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. So, and as always, I'll see you next time on the next month, next Tech Talk. Until then, bye-bye.